All right, before we get anywhere into the video, if you need a chapter link in my pinned comment, there is links to my Twitter. There are links to my Discord. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord. In the announcements tab in my Discord, there will be a link to the chapter. This chapter's crazy. All right, so typically I would go through the entirety of this chapter, talk about each part, give y'all my thoughts, but this chapter is such a backstory centric, like, characterization chapter. Like it's insane. Number one, how long I've been waiting for a chapter like this, but also insane on Oda's part for writing such a banger chapter. Like this is honestly something I've been waiting for Zoro for so long, because Zoro honestly in the character department have been lacking a little bit, but this chapter changed that because I got to know Zoro a little bit better. Before we even get into the chapter, if you need a link to the chapter, make sure you go to my pinned comment, join my Discord, go to the announcements tab. There will be chapter links there. Also, if you like this video, make sure you like it, man. And if you want more chapter reviews, other cool theories, things like that, make sure you subscribe and turn on post notifications. Without further ado, let's get straight into the chapter. So honestly, chapter 1033 was a complete banger. This chapter is amazing. Simply amazing, and a 10 out of 10 to me. So let's just get that out the way. We got a lot of things confirmed here. We learned about a lot of things, and we also got something that Oda explained in an SBS actually fleshed out in a chapter. So I'm so excited. In the beginning of this chapter, Sanji and Queen are having this conversation. We've been seeing a lot of Sanji and Queen when talking about or seeing anything about King versus Zoro, because these two fights are intertwined, and I made a video about that, talking about how the things that we're learning through, Queen are also being explained through the characterization we're getting from King and Zoro's fight, and I love that. Oda is doing a spectacular job with that. So after this happens, Zoro and King start scrapping, bro. They start to going at it. They start to fight. And we realize yet again, just like last chapter, that Zoro just isn't doing well. His attacks are being blocked. King is way too durable. His attacks aren't doing anything. There was even a time Zoro directly attacks King's chest. He's even using the, I think the Shishi Song, the one sword style attack. He uses this. Nothing happens to King, bro. King literally eats the attack. He cannot get through King's durability. It's interesting because it sounds like this fight is kind of the same as what's happening or what has happened with Luffy and Kaido. And what happened with Luffy and Kaido? Luffy finds out that, hey, I'm not dealing that much damage here. I'm not doing enough. And then what happens? He studies Kaido and realizes, man, you're really hurting me. How is this hurting so bad? And then he sees it and he gets an image in his head and he finally figures it out. You're flowing your Conqueror's haki. Conqueror's coding exists. And that's when we find out about it. This happens in 10:10. We see this and then we see Zoro use it subconsciously. Zoro doesn't know that he used it with Ashura, but Kaido did. Because, Kaido's been through the ringer. He's fought a bunch of people he understood. But we didn't think much of it. We were just like, oh, maybe Zoro will learn it later. But I've been telling you guys he's going to learn it in this fight, and that's what's going to be his power up. That is how he's going to get even more powerful. And it's going to happen. It is definitely going to happen based on the action and based on what happened narratively in this chapter. So after a while of fighting King, he realizes, man, this isn't going well. And King goes back into his dinosaur form and attacks Zoro and hits him with an attack that makes Zoro's swords fly everywhere. Now, he ends up looking at Wano and, his sword that he's been with for a long time. He realizes this is my sword. This is the sword I'm close to. And then the flashback starts. So Shimotuki Kozabora, basically, and I'll give you guys a too long don't read version, was the blacksmith of the Shimotuki Village. He's also the grandfather of Kuina, the father of Kuina's father, who was also Zoro's teacher. So in this flashback, we see Kozabora, along the riverbed, like he's on like the side near some water, and Zoro goes up to him and they have a conversation. And Zoro starts to like being his, airheaded self. He's like, I never thought about it, but like, how did these Wano swords end up in the East Blue? And like, he's talking to Kozabora. Kozabora is explaining to him that he fled 50 years ago for some crimes. But he basically says, look, don't say nothing about it though, because the Marines will come after us. So we know that he's fled. We also realize through what he's telling to Zoro that each sword has a personality. So it is now confirmed that Enma and all these powerful, well-known swords have personalities and that they choose their wielders. Just like, Zoro realized in this flashback when he had got the other sword, the other cursed blade, the guy was telling him, oh, this is cursed. I don't really want to give it to you because if it kills you, I'm going to feel like I killed you directly because I gave it to you. He also explains, and he says it himself too to Zoro, that the swords choose their wielders. So again, we got that confirmed. Swords choose their wielders. They have their own personalities. Now, this don't mean that swords just be out here, walking, talking on their own. It's not what he's saying. However, they have like a will of their own and they choose their wielder. So Zoro starts reminiscing and he's like, man, then how was, Odin able to just use you freely? He must be very powerful. And he was saying that it's not that this sword is cursed or, doesn't want me to use it. It's testing me and I'm not strong enough. I just need to get stronger. So Zoro's having this mental moment where he's looking at himself internally and he's like, man, I just got to get stronger to be able to use this sword. Enma, you're testing me. He realizes this. We also learned that it's confirmed that these cursed blades aren't really cursed. Kozabora tells Zoro that when people call cursed blades cursed, it's because they are weak swordsmen. They're afraid of the swords and the swords are, exerting themselves, testing them, and they can't live up to it because they're weak. This is what led to Zoro having this thought of, I need to get stronger. So it's really cool. We have two things confirmed here, that these cursed blades are not indeed cursed, that they are actually just weak swordsmen that are afraid of these blades, and that each sword has their own personality. What's also cool is the thing that we've also correlated to this sword, Enma being the king of the underworld, gets brought up, where Kozabora says, I made this really powerful sword and I named it after the king of the underworld, and then a light bulb went off in Zoro's head. He was like, ding, ding, ding. I get it now. This sword, Enma, was created by Kozabora, and he's like starting to connect all these things. Oda is pushing home this whole Wano to East Blue thing. The Shimotuki Village, Kuina, her father, Kozabora being Shimotsuki's, Ushimaru being a Shimotsuki. I am telling you that, Zoro is going to find out he is related to Ushimaru and Ryuma. He's probably going to end up being like Kuina's cousin or something. Like, they probably were related this entire time. I would not be even surprised. Hyogoro and Kawamatsu having that conversation like, man, Zoro really looks like Ushimaru. He's got Ryuma's scar. All of this is starting to come together full circle, bro. We're starting to get full characterization of Zoro. We're starting to find out who Zoro is, where he came from. Soon we're going to probably find out who his father is, where his father's from. And I'm telling you, it's probably Ushimaru, who people think is Fuga, the number now, which is still kind of funny because it's like, bro, Zoro, your dad's a number. Like, it's kind of funny to think about. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, but that's neither here nor there. What's important is Zoro is finally starting to get a true character. Like, he's getting his background finished, bro. Because you remember his original backstory was so short. And now I think it's because Oda wanted to flesh it out. He had plans for it. And I'm just super excited to see this, because for the longest time, I really was like, bro, when are we going to find out about Zoro, who Zoro is? And now we're finally starting to see it. So after this whole backstory, which was super cool, by the way, Kozabora, explains things to him. He comes back to, reality. And he's like, yo, Enma, you're testing me. I get it now. I understand. I'm going to give you what you want. And he starts to exert his haki. At the same time, Kaido's henchmen are around him. They go to attack Zoro. They all fall out, foam coming out their mouth. And you know what that means, bro. Conqueror's haki. And the king, it's funny because King says this. King says, oh, you want to become a king? Like, you're trying to use your conqueror's haki. So Zoro, like I said, is finally flowing his conqueror's haki. He's going to learn how to use his conqueror's coding freely. That is how he's going to become powerful enough to damage King. So I'm telling you, bro, now that he can attack King, once he learns how to really code freely and he can just use all three swords, and Enma chooses him as its wielder, bro, you seen what Odin did to Kaido, right? Bro, Zoro's about to be like Odin level. I'm telling you. I ain't gonna lie to you. I used to think that Zoro could be Odin, but after this chapter, I honestly have changed my mind, because Zoro basically admits that he's not strong enough to use Enma, but Odin was. So I think Zoro was kind of admitting that Odin was above him, with that statement. So now my whole mindset on Zoro being over Odin is changed. But I think after he learns how to use coding the way that Odin was using it, it's bro, Zoro's about to be Odin level though. I think that's what that is alluding to. I'm super excited to see how he fights King though, man, because in this chapter, bro, we got his backstory and now he's becoming a king right before our eyes. And then that thing he says about how he has a promise to his best friend, you see him thinking about Luffy and becoming, the world's strongest swordsman. I'm just bro, this is crazy, son. I'm gonna be honest, bro. This chapter is a 10 out of 10, bro. Like, this is 10/10 level of a chapter. Like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, this chapter's great. And then we don't got no break next week. Like, come on, son. What are we talking about here, bro? I ain't gonna lie, but I need to know y'all's thoughts on this chapter, bro. What is your rating for this chapter? Were you excited about the backstory? But once again, like I said in the beginning, and then further in the intro, if you need a chapter link, make sure you go into my pinned comment, join my Discord, get it out of the announcement tab, bro. Go ahead and get that, and then come back, watch the video. I love you guys. Also, I hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving. Hope it was great. Hope you got to eat tons and tons of food. And as always, I hope you all are staying safe and healthy during these trying times. This has been Sensei Inc., and I will see you all in the next video.